Prince William and Prince Harry's brotherly bond was put on display during the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's most recent visit to the UK. The two princes were united in grief as they mourned the loss of their grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, and joined forces for the first time since Megxit. However, Christopher Anderson, author of the upcoming book The King, The Life of Charles III, has claimed the Prince of Wales is still holding a grudge against his younger brother and his wife. The biographer was a guest on last week's episode of the Today for Daily podcast. He and host Kenzie Schofield discussed the book, which is the first biography of the new monarch since he inherited the throne, and speculated about what's coming next for the royal family. They referred back to the state funeral of the late Queen, examining the events leading up to the solemn day and the dynamics between certain members of the family. Harry and Meghan Markle had reunited with the UK-based royals for the first time in several months and, according to Mr. Anderson and M. Schofield, relations between the Windsors appeared to be strained. Mr. Anderson said, "In the very beginning, Harry was not allowed to wear his uniform. This was in the early days of the mourning period, but Andrew was and Edward was." The author went on to explain that Prince Edward was never in the military as he only partially completed his training during a brief stint in the Royal Marines. Meanwhile, Andrew relinquished his royal duties and was stripped of his military titles amid controversy surrounding his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and his subsequent civil case against Virginia Roberts Giuffre. He continued, "So obviously, there was an outcry as a result of that. Charles flipped and allowed him, Harry, to wear his uniform at the vigil of the grandchildren. But it never looked to me as if the Sussexes were comfortable during the funeral. They could hardly wait to get out." Mr. Anderson added, "And of course, I think William is still holding a huge grudge." He referred back to the Wales and Sussexes' first joint engagement during the mourning period when the couples came together outside Windsor Castle to greet well-wishers and read tributes. He said, "There was no connection. They were all going in different directions. I don't think it's going to end well." The biographer continued, "If there ever was a chance for them to mend things, I suppose that was it. But then again, this book is hanging over everyone's head." M. Schofield interjected, "And Netflix." Before adding, "And at the time, every week, Meghan was saying something that hinted towards her unhappiness over the last few years, in her situation in the monarchy, on the podcast. So every week, the royal family is getting hit with these big references to Meghan feeling silenced or ambition is dirty. So I'm sure that the family was fed up at the time." The podcast's host referred to the Duchess of Sussex's weekly Spotify podcast, during which she speaks with various guests and challenges archetypes that are frequently used to label women. Her first episode saw Meghan sit down with her long-term friend and tennis champ Serena Williams about the negative connotations surrounding being an ambitious woman. The pair talked about their professional roles, Meghan's as a working royal and Serena's as a sports star, and the challenges they faced as a result of their ambition. It came ahead of the Duchess' explosive Insta